Namaste, everyone. Welcome to class. Hopefully you woke up on the right side of the bed and are ready to do a little work on our prana vayus. We're working over this series on the 5 prana vayus, and today's focus is on udana vayu, the vayu that goes up and out of the body. So everything that we do from speaking to singing to spitting to vomiting, anything that's up and out. So a lot of times we have a lot of tension in our throat and our voice gets tight and high because we can't really control what's happening in that area. So this is to help us remove things, get things out of that area. It's really good for releasing emotion and good for settling in and balancing our whole outflow, up and outflow, all right? So just keeping that in mind as we start our practice this morning, bringing the hands into the heart, Anjali Mudra, and thinking of that area. So the area is at the dimple of the throat, but back in the spine. The seat of it is in Vishuddha Chakra, which is embedded in your spine, 1,000th the breadth of a hair. So we're talking microchip, smaller than your iPhone. And it's what innervates these organs in this area. So as we are in Anjali Mudra with our hands, just letting a little pressure come into that area, lengthening the back of the neck, compressing a little the front of the neck, and just bring your awareness into that area for a moment. Take a few gentle breaths, no breath control, just noticing it, not controlling it. And then let the chin tuck in a little deeper, just a little stronger pull to the back of the neck. Keep your shoulders down, don't let them climb. With gratitude, we salute all the great yoga masters, past and present. Special prayer of thanksgiving for Babaji. With joy, we recognize the excellent wisdom teachings of yoga, Ayurveda, and with vigor, we dedicate ourselves to self-transforming practice. So what do you need this morning for self-transformation? Just bring that into your awareness. And then let that thought form a positive statement as if you had already completed it, repeating it to yourself 3 times, a sankalpa, a sacred vow. And then letting that thought slip out of your mind, down into your heart space, and we'll pull it back at the end of class. Then gently, ever so gently, begin to lift your chin, stacking the head at the top of the spine, letting the eyes flutter open. Join me if you can, where you are, in one resounding Om. Exhaling the breath all the way out, letting it vibrate that area when you get there. Good, and then just releasing the hands to the knees for a moment. So thinking again about this area, let's review quickly the 5 values, just so that we know that we're balancing all 5 as we do class, but our focus today is on udana. So our downward flow of energy out and down, apana vayu. Everything that goes out and down, excretion, childbirth, anything out and down, okay? Samana, our vayu of transformation, our digestive area, our whole of our solar plexus, the belly button, that is all the way back into the back of the spine. The whole area of samana vayu, transformation. Prana vayu, our whole area of breathing and breathing into the chest area. So coming in with the breath and going down, in with the breath and going down. Udana, out, coming out of the body, up and out, up and out. And then beyond all of our circulatory system of the body. And today's focus is going to be right here, and the seat is Vishuddha. So for just a moment, tall spine, keep your chin parallel to the floor, so no compressing, no tucking your chin in at all. Feel the back of the neck is free. And let's take our gaze over to the left side, just the head. A little bit of compression right at the throat area. Keep it there for a moment. Keep your gaze there as you take your left hand and touch the right side of your chin. Just touch it with a couple of fingers, touching the right side of your chin. And then on your next exhale, a little press into that area, taking it a little bit further, release the hand, just keep it there. And then draw the head back into neutral. Just draw the head back into neutral. Good. We're going to go again, and this time, oh, look, you could go as far as you went the second time. Good, and bring your head back into neutral. So using the way our autonomic nervous system works to help us feel safe and secure with a little bit more movement, okay? And now over to the right side. Just taking your gaze over to the right, you may feel more limitation. You may feel less limitation, just feeling wherever you are, chin parallel. And then taking your fingers on your right hand to the left side of your cheek and just a little, wait just a sec. A little tiny push, opening up a little bit more, tiny bit more, don't strain, over to the right side. And on your next inhale, bring your gaze back front and center. And then go again over to the right and just notice that it opened up and liberated you a little bit more. Good, and bring the gaze back into neutral. Perfect. Let's take the gaze up to the ceiling. If you have any kind of neck issues, just put your hands right behind the nape of the neck and hold your head. Otherwise, just don't letting your head go. Keeping the chin moving upward, but don't let your head go. And as I said, you're welcome to hold the head and rest the head in it. We're stretching the throat, the thyroid, parathyroid. You may need your hands behind your head to bring it back into neutral without any force or strain. So they're bringing the head back into neutral. Good. And then letting the head go down toward the chest. Relax for a moment, and then bringing it back into neutral. Good. And this time, when we let the head go back down to the chest, take your shoulders, take your arms, and lift your shoulders way, way high as you can. Swallow your neck as much as you can. Take your chin down to your chest. See if you can get it into that jugular notch with your shoulders way high. Keep the chin there, and slowly, with a lot of control, begin to relax your shoulders back and down. Keep the chin there. Rest your hands on your legs. And then take a hand, right or left, put it on your forehead, and then press your head back into neutral, not straining the back of the neck. Good. Excellent place to start. Come all the way into all fours. Just finding yourself in your table pose, wrists directly under the shoulders. Go ahead and curl the toes under for a moment. And we're thinking about the neck this time. So gazing forward, probably about 6 feet forward, not too far forward and certainly not up. Okay, so just gazing forward. Press the floor away with your hands. Spread the space between your scapula. And then slowly think about the neck, tucking the chin in, curling, arching the spine toward the ceiling, get round. Coming back through neutral, keep pressing the floor away, don't dump into the shoulders. And again, looking forward. Again. So this is really stimulating all 5 pranavayus, balancing. And today we're making sure that we really do Vishuddha, our udana vayu seat. One more. Move smoothly, as if you were moving through molasses. Good, and then come into neutral. Find yourself in neutral. Great. So let's go ahead and extend out our right arm. Right arm extends out. Left leg extends back. Toes are on the floor. Good. Take your gaze out to the left. Keep your head balanced. Take the gaze to the left, gaze to the left, gaze to the left. And then lift gently the left leg. You're still gazing to the left. So making a long line of energy. If you had Tadasana, Utthita Tadasana, upward reaching Tadasana on one side of the body. Good. Bring your gaze back into neutral. Release the hand, release the leg, and bring the knee back underneath the hip. Good. Other side, let's start with our left arm, reaching it out. Good. And then go ahead and take your gaze over to the right side. Extend back the right leg. And then lift the right leg. Pull in the belly. Toes are toward the floor. There's no rotation on the leg. You're looking for a Tadasana spine. Good, breathing. And then go ahead and bring your gaze back down to the mat. Release your left hand. Release your right knee. Good. And then take another cat pose. Arching the spine, tucking the chin into the chest, get round and stay here and breathe for a moment. But really press the floor away with your legs, with your hands. And then slowly, again, as if you were moving through molasses, begin to arch in the other direction. Good. And then let's just step our legs back strong for a moment into plank pose. Pull in the belly. Pike for a moment, just looking forward. If you're inverting, go ahead and take this as a mountain pose for a moment, often called downward facing dog off of our beautiful mountain. Otherwise, you're just halfway there, looking forward. Make sure you cannot see your heels on your feet. Your feet are not in any rotation. Your heels are hidden behind your second and third toes, behind the whole of the foot. Good. And then slowly just walk yourself up, looking forward. We're going to come down into a chair pose with our hands, our arms right above our knees. So settle in, find your arms right above your knees. Feet are hip width apart. Hip width does not mean the outside of your hips. It's probably somewhere between 1 and 2 fists. It's what's in between your pelvic basket, okay? Good. Find your pose. Great. Take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, push up. All the way to standing. Great. Good. And then go ahead and open your feet wide for a moment. So again, bringing our attention to things going up and out of the body, to release emotion, to release pent up, not being able to speak your mind, not being able to say what you want, not being able to express yourself. So that's the area we're working on, okay? So you'll see how a lot of poses have a chin tucked in or moving to one side. So we're going to externally rotate the left leg. Just get it rotated. Keep the spine upright. Open the arms. And then gazing, but keep your neck stacked on top and then taking your gaze out over the arm. Good. So our expression here is going to be bend the knee. And then come up, gaze front and center. And bend the knee, go down, gaze to the left. Flip the palms, come up, gaze front and center. That little bit of pressure at the neck every time we move. Come up and down. And up and down. Good. Roll your shoulders back and down, pull in your belly, lift your pelvic floor, feel the tension created at the neck. Go ahead and take your hand that's behind you, your right hand, and reach over to the right for a minute while you look to the left, but reach to the right. Come back into the center, reach to the left. Come back into the center. Take your gaze slowly all the way over your right arm. Nice and slow. And then straighten the leg, bring the arms overhead and bring your head back into neutral, looking forward. Good. Exhale, hands to the heart. Unrotate the left leg and we're going to go to the right side. So initially, just a nice straight leg. Arms out to the side. Good. Take your gaze out to the right side. And keep your head long. Neck is not feeling trapped. Feel your neck as long as you can get it. Chin parallel to the floor. And then bend your knee. Good. Make sure you didn't lean in that direction. Keep your spine as upright, legs are open, body is divided front, back, side, side. Good. The weight is evenly distributed. Maybe kick out your left heel a little bit, giving you that solidity in your pelvic basket. Good. Gazing out to the right. So we're going to inhale, gaze back, front to center, straighten the leg. Exhale, lower, take the gaze back. Keep the belly in, pelvic floor lifted, front and center. Exhale, gazing to the right. Inhale, gazing back, front and center. Exhale, gazing to the right. Inhale, back. Exhale, gazing to the right. Good. One more. Inhale. Up. Exhale. Gazing to the right. Good. Keep gazing to the right and then pull yourself over to the left side. Pull, 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 pull as if you were something to grab over there. Come back to the middle. And then lean and pull over to the right side as if you could grab a golden ring. And back into the center. Good. And then gently take your gaze out over your left arm. Slowly, slowly, slowly. And then flip the palms, take the arms up overhead, straighten the leg, bring your gaze back front and center. Good. Bring the hands into the heart. And both feet back into parallel and abducted far away. Good. Legs are in the same direction. Heels are hidden behind your second and third toe. So heels are right back behind your second and third toe. Great. Come forward. Getting your spine as parallel as you can for just a moment. And you're welcome to put your hands on the floor or on a block or on a couple of blocks. Whatever you need to make sure you have a little bit of your low back curve, that you aren't dumping and curling your low back in the incorrect direction. So make sure that you have a little bit of your low back curve. You aren't hunching over, okay? Great. So we're here for a moment. So go ahead and open out your left arm. Palm facing the floor. Palm is facing the floor. So thumb is headed out in front of you, palm is facing the floor. Engage your legs, your thighs, your pelvic floor, and your belly. All in that order. Good. And then take your gaze out to your left hand. Gazing out to the left hand. And then using your arms slowly, begin to peel it away. Take the gaze and keep it on your thumb. Only go as far up as you can take your gaze. Press into the right hand. Press the block away or the floor away. And then slowly come back. Keep your gaze on your thumb. And then bring your gaze down below. And release the left arm. Good. Now let's do the right side. Okay? So open up the arm. External rotation. Palm is facing the floor. Good. Press into your feet. Lift your toes for a moment. Get balanced. And then take your gaze out toward your right hand. Make sure you can see your thumb. And then slowly begin to raise the arm only as far as it goes, only as far as you keep the gaze. If you start to lose your thumb, don't go any further. And slowly come back into neutral. Keep the gaze with the thumb. And then gazing toward the floor. Release the arm. Again, long in the spine. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, bring your hands to your thighs. Inhale again, long in the spine. Spread the sit bones. And exhale all the way up. Good. Let's heel toe a few times. Great. Finding Tadasana and resting for a moment. A standing Shavasana. Relax your toes. Relax your knees, your hips, your rib cage, your shoulders, your jaw. Good, and then on your next inhale, letting the eyes flutter open. Great. Okay, let's spread apart again. So I want us to think of how when we do a lot of these standing poses that we do on either side, balancing left and right, Ida, Pingala, we're balancing the two sides, purifying the two sides of the body. And how often we have a head or a neck addition that sometimes we'll just skip for any reason, okay? So just thinking about that pressure at the area of the neck, stimulating that area. Let's go ahead and externally rotate the left leg. Good. Kick out your right heel just a little. Bend the knee, make sure that you have a good space, so don't go past, your knee shouldn't go past your ankle. If it has a tendency to go past, just scoot your foot out a little bit more. Make sure that knee can be received by the ankle. Don't lean, come upright for a moment. Good. And now, feeling that openness, lift the pelvic floor, bring in your belly, take yourself over till you get a nice diagonal line. You can take your left hand and just rest it on your thigh, but don't dump your weight into it. Keep this whole left side of the torso equally as long as the right side of the torso. Okay, so just keeping it long. Good. So taking our gaze down to our knee, keep your neck long, don't drop your head. Taking it down toward the toe or the knee, whatever's in your vision, down on the left side. And then slowly begin to straighten the left knee. Don't dump your weight into the knee. Bring your left arm and hand in front of the left shin. Keep your gaze at the toes for just a moment. And then slowly, focusing on the neck region, press into the right heel. And then begin to draw your gaze slowly out toward the front, out toward me. Good. And then right arm up, being in our triangle. Bottom side is just as long as the top side. And then slowly keep the neck long. You may even pull your chin away a little to make sure you kept it long. Take the gaze up toward the right hand. Bring the gaze back into neutral spine. Good, take a nice inhale. We're gonna exhale up to warrior two. Inhale, arms overhead, straighten the leg. Good, hands to the heart and unrotate the left leg. Rotate the right leg, kick out the left heel a little, stabilize, no leaning. Bring yourself back up as much as you can, but lift the pelvic floor, pull in the belly. That's where it comes from. Good. Make sure when you bend your knee that you've got it in the right place, that you don't take your knee past your foot. Great. Take the arms up for a moment and then just open the shoulders and then relax your arms. Good. Straighten the leg. Don't lock the knee, just straighten. And then bend gently, finding your diagonal line now over to the right side. Your bottom side is just as long as your top side. So there's no collapsing, there's no arc in here. It's just a triangle. This is one of the three angles. This is one on our legs, here in our arm, and then our whole body making a triangle. That's why this is called three-angle pose, okay? So this angle is not a collapsed something. It's nice and open. Stack the arms. Right arm reaching down toward the floor, left arm reaching up toward the ceiling. Take your gaze down to your big toe. And then slowly, gently begin to bring the gaze toward the front and center. And then think about lengthening your chin away from your neck and taking your gaze up. Bring your gaze back front and center. Take a nice inhale and exhale back to warrior two. Good. Arms up overhead. Unrotate both legs back front and center. Good. Bring the hands into the heart and let's heel toe until we can step together into our Tadasana. Relax your arms, relax your body. Let your eyes close and take a few delicious breaths. Release your pelvic floor, your belly. You can grab a few belly breaths, which you cannot do when you're practicing asana. Good, and then inhale and letting the eyes open. Okay, so we're gonna go in just a moment, we're gonna go back down toward the floor, and as we make our way there, we're gonna go into an inversion and be there for several breaths. We're gonna go into mountain pose, downward facing dog pose. And I just want us to be aware, if you're on your first few days of your cycle, just come into plank and then drop your knees, come into plank, drop your knees, just play there a little bit. Otherwise, I want you to go up into mountain and stay there. And I want you to be moving your head as I indicate, okay? So if you're not doing mountain, because you're not inverting, so you're on your first few days of your menstrual cycle, you have glaucoma or some kind of eye pressure problems or uncontrolled blood pressure, then please, we're not gonna invert. You're just gonna do plank and come into plank on the knees, all right? So everybody else, we're coming forward. And just let your arms hang for a moment, wherever they are, just letting the arms hang. If they touch the ground, that's fine. Just bring yourself up a little bit until they hang. Good. And then go ahead and put your hand somewhere on your mat and then maybe walk yourself around so that you can come into mountain pose. So mountain with the hips piked up. Heels may never touch the floor, just depends. You cannot see your heels, and if you're not inverting, then come into plank, and you can drop to your knees, either way, plank on the knees, belly's pulled in, or plank full in. And the rest of us are in mountain. Breathing. Let your head hang in traction. No movement with the neck right now. Just keeping everything soft. Press back into your legs, bend your knees a little bit. Everybody bend your knees and take your hips back, back, back. So that you remove a wrist crease by pressing into the hands and fingers and get a long line of energy from your middle finger up to your sit bones. Tuck the chin in a little bit to the chest and release it. 2 more times. Tuck the chin in a little bit to the chest and release it. Once more. Tuck the chin in a little bit to the chest and release it. And then everybody shift forward into plank pose. Press through your heels, pull up your belly. There's no pike here. There's just a long line of energy all the way through the heels. And then come to the knees. So you have a very long stance between your knees and where your wrists are. Very long stance, as it should be. Good. And then take your hips back towards your heels. Rest on your forearms. Begin to round the spine, tuck the chin into the chest, place the crown of the head on the floor briefly, and then look forward. Good. This is also an inversion, so you may need to modify this in any way you'd like. As we begin to lift, tuck the belly in, find a cat tuck. Crown of the head reaches toward the floor. Head in between the elbows somewhere. You can rest it gently on the floor and then gazing forward again. So Shashangasana modified with movement. Again, curling in, pulling the head back in, pressing the crown of the head briefly into the floor, and then looking forward, curling the tailbone toward the back of the head toward the tailbone. One more, and this time we will stay for 3 breaths. Tuck the chin into the chest, placing gently the crown of the head on the floor. Breathe. And then on your next inhale, begin to curl in the opposite direction, looking forward. You're on your forearms. Walk your forearms out a little bit. And then bring your belly down to the floor. Bring your elbows underneath your shoulders into Sphinx pose. Good. Point your toes, put your all toenails on the floor. Toes are pointed and all toenails are on the floor. Lift your belly. Do not press anything into your pubic bone. It's just reaching down towards your ankles, as is your tailbone. Pressing into your forearms, so shoulders pressing in. Don't let your shoulders go. Press in with the forearms, shoulders are pressing away. Belly is lifted. Curious Sphinx. Take a gaze out over your left shoulder. Look back at your right heel. Bring pressure into the neck. And inhale back to neutral. And exhale, other direction. Inhale back to neutral. One more time, either side. Over to the left, exhale. Belly to spine. Inhale, back into neutral. And then exhale, belly to spine. And inhale, back into neutral. Good. So for today, I want you to think about Advasana, which is Shavasana on your belly. Okay, basically. But if you can stay here, otherwise you're welcome to flip and go into Shavasana. But if you can stay here, lower down to your ribs, take your arms back behind you, relax your feet and legs, the heels can rock out. Rest on one cheek, taking your head to one side. Surrendering into the floor. On your next inhale, move your head to the other side, just resting on the opposite cheek. If that's not comfortable, you can rest on your forehead or chin, but knowing that moving the neck all the way puts a little bit more pressure at the thyroid, at the area of the Vishuddha. And then slowly bringing your chin or forehead to the floor, bringing your hands underneath your shoulders. Point your toes again, get long, press through the tops of the feet. Let the knees lift off of the floor for just a moment. Reaching everything down towards your feet, elbows reaching towards your feet, shoulders reaching towards your feet. And then curl the toes under. Begin to press the floor away as you come up and gently take your hips back to your heels. Again, down onto your forehead. This would be fine if you're not inverting. And if you are inverting, keep your hips up and take the forehead to the floor. Just resting the hands by the feet somewhere, just resting the shoulders and the hands back by the feet. And then bring the hands underneath the shoulders one more time. Press the floor away. Pause for a moment. You've done a lot of work in your neck today, so you may have a lot of lightheaded feeling. Good. And then bringing yourself into a comfortable seat, just being still for a moment. We're going to come back into a couple more seated poses. So for just a moment to balance out the whole of the spine, we're going to take a press into your sit bones and inhale and resist against a twist as you begin to twist out to the left side. Take your chin out over your right shoulder. Look down towards your right knee. Breathe. And then bringing your chin over your left shoulder. Arc it up and take it over your left shoulder. Then release the twist, come back into neutral. Just notice how it feels in the whole of the spine, the whole of the body, balancing left to right, right to left. And then slowly ground down through the sit bones. We're going to go over to the left side of the torso and take the chin out over your left shoulder. Breathing. Don't let your breath disappear. Keep the belly in. Breath is in the chest. Breathe into the back body where there's less restriction. Breathe into the right ribs. And then arc your chin up a little and take it out over your right shoulder. Good. And then slowly release the twist, come back into neutral, bring your gaze back into neutral. Find Sukhasana, your home. Close your eyes and just take a few breaths, just relaxing into your form, into your asana, into your seat. Good, and then on your next inhale, gently letting the eyes flutter open. Good. So when it comes to working with udana vayu in this whole area of upward reaching energy, there are some pranayams are very, very efficient in that area. And so today I want to go over with you ujjayi, victorious breath, and go over brahmari, which is bee humming sound. So those both vibrate this whole area, okay? So we have two ways of performing ujjayi. Babaji taught us a growth method and a subtle method. The subtle method is what you've probably heard when you've gone to classes and people kind of sound like Darth Vader close to you. So it is bringing the noise in, but it's subtle. You can hear it, but it's not loud like you're going to hear with this first ujjayi growth method. So the growth method has a lot of breaking up energy, right? It can help to stimulate the whole of udana vayu, which can clear our passageways for right expression. So I'm going to demonstrate it. You take 5 sips vibrating. Well, first, everybody clear your throat. Put your hand where you feel that motion of clearing your throat. That's your glottis, epiglottis, and that's where we're going to actually try to vibrate that area. So you can even keep your hand lightly there. Don't keep it pressed in hard or it'll limit the movement, okay? So just keeping it there. And I'm going to do it once or twice, and then you can join in with me. So, and you might just die laughing as you do it because it can sound really funny when you first get started, okay? If we were all together physically, we would probably just laugh, all right? So feel free to laugh at yourself. Exhaling the breath out, I'm going to bring in 5 sobbing sips, vibrating that area every single time I inhale through my nose. And then a gentle exhale out the nose. And out the nose. So join me, if you will. Maybe keep your hand there for a moment. Exhaling the breath all the way out. Inhale. Exhale. Exhale. Couple more. And then just rest for a moment in your natural breathing. Just notice how the throat feels. Good. So let's make the sound as if you were gonna, or make the motion or movement if you were gonna fog up a mirror. So you're gonna breathe your breath onto a pane of glass and fog it. Okay, let's do that with our mouth closed now, out our nose. So that's the sound that you hear when you're doing ujjayi, subtle method, okay? So you bring the air in through the glottis, making that sort of sound. And you can take it out with a sound or without a sound. Babaji teaches it taking it out without a sound, just through the nose, nice and gentle. Or if you're overheated, because these are heating practices, then you close off the left nostril and exhale through the right. So you can decide how you want your exhale to be. But the inhale is pulling it in gently, smoothly, but one more subtle sound as you do that. But yes, you can hear yourself for sure. Okay. So exhaling the breath all the way out. And then inhale, pull it in slowly. Exhale. Kind of a Darth Vader inhale. Couple more. Chest breath, no belly breathing. And when I say chest breath, it means your belly stays firm and you're breathing and spreading your ribs side to side, front to back. Good. And then just pause for a moment. Let your eyes close and just notice the effects of these two practices, Ujjayi gross and Ujjayi subtle. And then on an inhale, letting your eyes flutter open. Good. So the next practice that I want to share with you is Brahmari Pranayama, bee humming Pranayama. It's the sound right there in the glottis, same sound, same vibration, really good for thyroid, parathyroid stimulation, really good for Vishuddha and all of our udana, upward flowing, outflowing action. So this practice sounds like a bee. We're vibrating that area, but we take the air in, normally with a nice smooth inhale and a smooth exhale. I'll let you just listen first. I'm going to start with an exhale. It's a chest breath only. Okay, so inhaling and exhaling. The exhale is a little bit easier. So sometimes it's easier to begin with an exhaled breath just to get you into the rhythm. It's a really tight area in the glottis. That area is very compressed when you're doing it. So maybe keep your hand there. You're welcome to repeat Ujjayi, gross or subtle, if this is uncomfortable for you. This breath, you can often feel like, oh, I think I might just die. That's kind of a normal feeling because our autonomic nervous system doesn't understand what we're doing. So take it slow. When you get to the top of both, pause and say, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm doing this. Okay. So just keep yourself with it for a moment. You can try it a couple of times, and if it feels uncomfortable, go right back to the Ujjayi breaths. Okay. So let's start exhaling. Let's bring in a normal inhale into the chest. We'll start with an exhale. Pause. 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 Sit for a moment, feel the effects. And then letting your eyes flutter open. Okay, so I want to do that one more time, either Brahmari, Ujjayi gross, or Ujjayi subtle, okay? We're gonna do one of those. Then we're gonna go into our meditation for the morning. And then at the end of our practice, we're all gonna take Viparita Karani Mudra, or at least put your legs up the wall, because in doing this, we may have disturbed some of the vayus if we're not used to working this much in one area, okay? So we want to do our topsy-turvy pose at the very end. So for now, nice tall spine. If you need something underneath your knees, please put them there. Don't let your legs hang in space. If they're not touching the floor, support them fully. Find yourself on your sit bones, pull up the belly, and then relax for a moment. Good. So entering into one of our pranayamas. Brahmari, Ujjayi gross, or Ujjayi subtle. Exhaling the breath all the way out, beginning as you're ready. Moving right into meditation. Letting the breath go, soft and subtle. The mantra to hold on to, tethering yourself with hum, 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 hum. Repeating it silently as you relax the body. Hum, hum. Bringing your meditation to a close gently, gently. See if you can melt your way down into the floor, finding legs up the wall slowly, mindfully. Just being there for 1 full minute once you get your way down. You can count to 60 once you get there. Either Viparikari Mudra or simply legs up the wall, bottom on the floor, whichever is most comfortable for you. Everybody can do legs up the wall. Coming out of it slowly, transitioning slowly, slowly. Take your time to find your comfortable seat. Take your time. Letting all of the practices, asana, pranayama, mantra, meditation, all of them just be in your body-mind complex. Tall spine, hands into the heart, Anjali Mudra. Remembering your sankalpa and repeating it to yourself again 3 times. Any merit that we may have earned this morning in our very diligent practice of yoga, we lift it up to the welfare of all sentient beings. Letting that thought of all sentient beings slip from your mind down into your heart, from your heart out into the palms of your hands, and then symbolically just lifting up and letting go off into the universe, bringing the hands gently back into the heart. Hari Om Tat Sat. Namaste. I'm coming to you to talk. Good. So let me find how I can get you on. Now everybody is allowed to open it, to unmute yourself. Let me get my gallery so I can see all your beautiful faces. There you go. Okay. So, any questions about udana? How did you guys make it through the pranayams? I know you must have questions about ujjayi, gross or subtle, about brahmari. Brahmari is really hard. This is 20 years of practice that you heard. This is not an easy practice. Jean, yeah.
I had not just difficulty doing the inhaling while making that sound. I kind of felt like maybe I don't really know how to inhale, because I could do the sound or I could inhale. I couldn't seem to do both at the same time. It seemed like the part of my anatomy that needed to do one also needed to do the other at the same time.
How did the ujjayi gross do for you? Could you do that?
I wasn't clear on what, I didn't know what ended and I didn't understand that. What was one inhale and one exhale, or were you just making a different sound? I was kind of befuddled.
The ujjayi gross method is it's an inhale with five sobs. So you're sobbing 5 times. It's and then out. It's similar to the Kriya that we do at the end, the 8th Kriya, where you're taking 5 sips of air, but this time it has a sound, it has a sob, right? So you're layering it in with 5 sips of air.
Well, that I can do.
Let me hear you.
Okay.
Exhale first. You were out before you got to your 5th, okay? So start again, just start again, really nice and slow. Okay, good. So let me give you a cue to Brahmari. And this is all Kamalesh. This is not Babji, although I have a feeling he would totally approve. But so I want you to exhale, and then you're gonna inhale and you're gonna exhale. You're gonna inhale in the sips, and then you're gonna jump off of a sip to understand what happens with Brahmari. Okay, so just listen for a sec. So I'm jumping off of it. So I want you to try to do a couple of those sips and then just pull in and see if you can do a Brahmari.
So when you just did those 2 different sounds, were you inhaling both times?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay, so.
Exhale, and then inhale, sob. And then prolong the sob. It's hard, and it takes a lot of concentration. But if you can prolong that sob, so it's like taking an ujjayi inhale and jumping off of it into Brahmari, and then a Brahmari exhale.
Okay.
That's it. That's it. It's just you're lacking power. So that means you need to exhale more, and then put your hands at your rib cage. And I want you to inhale in 5 sips into your hands. Just do the ujjayi gross for a second. So exhale. Good. Pause, and then exhale out your nose. No sound.
Oh, wait. So what am I doing? I'm not understanding what I'm doing. I mean, what am I supposed to be doing?
You're supposed to be taking 5 sips, just like Kriya 8. You're taking 5 sips of air. You're giving them a sound. Right now, you're just going to do ujjayi. You're not jumping off into anything. You're just going to do the ujjayi. Okay? So start with the exhale. Breath moves out. Good. And then inhale. I need more sobbing sound.
So I should be, I'm doing sound with that?
Yeah, you're doing sound with that. You're sobbing. 4.5.
Right.
Good. All right. It gets rid of congestion. It has a lot of good positive benefits for sinuses and everything.
Okay. This is complicated by the fact that I've just been drinking Linden Nourishing Herbal Infusion, which has little pieces that stick in your throat. So.
Well, I'm going to make a video of this so that I can share it with you so that you can practice it with me. Okay. I promise that. I will do that because it's super good for us. How many of you feel that whole area got super stimulated?
Oh yeah.
Everybody feel that? Yeah. Okay. Because it's really to work in that area where we don't bring a lot of attention there, and a lot of people who are older that you know have no longer a lot of progesterone, testosterone, estrogen. Because what has to take up the slack are your adrenals and your thyroid. And so this stimulation to the thyroid needs to happen on a daily basis. We need to bring that awareness and that attention into that area to keep our thyroid strong and healthy, right? And that whole area is stimulating the thyroid and the parathyroid. So we want to, it's a practice that even if we're doing it, I would recommend doing just Ujjayi gross all by itself for like 3 to 4 months, every single day. Just exhale. Exhale, right? So you're just inhaling with the sobs, 5 sobs, pause, exhale, right? Because that will start to stimulate. And then once you start doing that, your body, your whole body starts to understand where that is coming from, what happens there. And then it's easy to go, into the Brahmari breath, which is really hard, I promise, especially the inhale. The exhale is not so hard, but the inhale is hard. And it is what it is.
I have a question, Ginger.
Yes.
I always struggle with having a sore throat. It always feels aggravated after doing this. Is that something that my body will get used to and it'll stop being aggravated, or should I avoid this?
No, it's good for you, Antonia. It really is good, especially the Ujjayi gross for a while. But then you need to soothe it with licorice tea, like a really slimy, good licorice tea.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
after
it
you've
stays
done,
hurting the rest of the day. So
after you've done your practice, for you, it'd be good to, after you've done the practice, gargle with warm salt water with turmeric. Like after you're done with your whole thing, gargle with warm salt water and turmeric, a whole cup. So you spit out everything and you're really way on back and spit and spit and spit. And then the first tea that you have is a licorice tea, and nice and slimy. So, not just the licorice tea bag, you need licorice. So, I have the dirt. I have the polvo. I have the powder at the store, and you can get some powder. Yeah, that's what you need is the powder. Like a half a teaspoon of the powder into a cup of warm water, and not too hot, just soothing warm, and just warm up your amygdalas and everything with that soothing stuff. But it's good because that area itself is one of your weaker areas. It's where things go when you get sick, right? So we need to stimulate and work that area. And then if you start to feel a cold coming on, it's that gargling with salt water and turmeric that really knocks it out of the ballpark. And right now with COVID, we should all be gargling with warm salt water and turmeric, and not hot, warm water. Nice warm water, body temperature water. And just you have to go way back and just try to get all of the garbage that's postnasal dripping for you out, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Wendy, do you have a question? Yeah.
Yes. My neck, I think, is the weakest part of it's very easy to get, hurt. So I was wondering what
you got to build strength. The only way to build strength is to build strength, right? I have 2 broken vertebrae. I had they're cracked. What do you call it? Cracked, not broken. I would be dead. But I have 2 cracked vertebrae from a really bad car accident in 1984, and I have a lot of restriction on one side, much more than the other. But I remember that I couldn't even lift my head out of a hair washing bowl. I had to lower my head into the hair washing bowl and lift my head out of with my arms, right? I had zero anything because my clavicle was broken and the 2 bones in my spine. So you have to do these things that strengthen and not overdo. But every single day, wherever you have a weakness, like when I come upstairs, I use my left leg primarily because that's my weak leg. So I try to lift the left leg, lift the left leg, lift the left leg, let the right leg just come up with it because the right leg's already super strong. So, you have to just use things during your day that help the weak areas get stronger. So if you're not doing anything with your neck, you just need to go where it's comfortable and then, you know, where it's comfortable. And when you have tightness, how many of you were like amazed? You went like that, you put a little bit extra, you came back, and then you went all the way because your autonomic nervous system said, oh, I can do that, that's fine. But your manas, your memory, stopped you before you got there, right? Because it was like, oh, this is going to be careful, we're going to be careful, because we're good and we're going to be careful. And then you realize, oh, I could go a little bit further. So then the next time, oh, you went a little bit further all by yourself. It's you training your whole body at what your capacity is, because it's going to the safe side. It's always going to move to the safe side if possible. That's your primitive brain taking care of you. Anybody else? Anything else? Yes, Jana.
After doing all the practices, I realized going into it, you know, I was like in my serious mode, taking it really serious focus. And the effect afterward was like this spaciousness all up here and also like in my heart. And I'm just smiling and laughing and giggling, and it felt really good.
Good. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Because sometimes we take it and we just clamp down because we're trying so hard. And we find that whole area is restricted instead of trying to kind of like open it up. Yeah. Thanks, Sue. Yeah, that often happens. So thank you, Jana, for sharing. Thanks for going with it with focus and not 110% pitta.
Yeah.
Us pittas, we have to try to do it at 80% max, right? That's where we have to keep ourselves trying. And it's a like holding horse reins, right? It's like holding in the mind to just like, I'm gonna do it. My tendency is to try at 110. I'm gonna try it light. So, oh, isn't that more open? Instead of really like killing myself to do it. Yeah. All righty, so just the reminder that we have I think another week or so. I think we have the next week, but I think we have 2 weeks left. I don't know. We have Thursday. So Thursday is Dhyan, all of our circulatory system. Okay, so we'll hit Dhyan vayu. All righty, so nice to see you. Everybody have a wonderful Tuesday. Go and have a nice nourishing breakfast, nothing cold, and no fruit and yogurt. Just to know that's poison for Ayurveda. So you can ask me more wine next time. Much love to you all. Ciao, ciao.